We're setting our foundation for geometry. So we have quite a bit of vocabulary at the beginning of geometry to go through, and that will help us later on. The things you're learning today, you're going to use these the very last day of geometry that you're in class. Our vocabulary today is segment, ray, endpoint, opposite rays, parallel lines, skewed lines, and parallel planes. Well, let's start off with our first vocabulary word, and I've already got this written down, and it is segment. Segment is a part of a line. It consists of two endpoints and all the points in between. Remember in lesson 1, we did a line. And a line is just a ton of dots all lined up together. And when you draw it, a line, I'm talking about a line, you have to put your symbols here, and that means it goes on forever. Let's name two of the points. I'm going to label point A and point B. Those are 2 points of the trillion and trillion points that are right here on this line. Now, if I decide to erase it, this portion right there, and then right here, I now have a segment or line segment. It said, you can say it either segment or line segment, does not matter. So what it is, it consists of 2 endpoints, it has an end, and all the points between it. So all these points, this is an infinite amount of points between A and B. Now, how do I name that? Because naming your lines and your segments and your rays are very, very important. You would name it with just a line and say AB. Remember yesterday when our last lesson, when we had line AB, we drew that meaning this, AB right there. This means line AB, this means line segment AB. It's very important to write it correctly. If you're taking a test or a quiz later on and you accidentally write this saying it's a line segment, that is totally incorrect. That is not right. Okay, can I name this same line segment BA? Can I name it that way also? The answer is yes, you sure can. For example, what is this right here? That is a blue pen. Okay, let me flip it over. What is that right there? That is a blue pen. What is this now? It's a blue pen. If you notice, I'm flipping and I'm turning it. What is it? It's still a blue pen. The same thing with a line segment. I can draw it going up this way, and I can go BA. If I choose to write it that way, I can write it going this way. So it can change places. It's still a line segment. Okay, so you can flip and label it. So you may have this as an answer. Your partner or someone in your class may have that as an answer. And you are both correct. Let's go on. The next term is ray. The definition of a ray is listed right here. A ray is half of a line. It has one endpoint and extends forever in one direction. So here we have our line. We're going to use good old line AB. And I'm going to take off a section of it. That is a ray. A ray is like an arrow. It has a starting point, and then it goes on forever on one of its sides right here. Now, when you write a ray, it's very important to write it correctly. You would write this as ray. See, I'll put a little ray symbol, AB. Now, the A, this part right here, is where it starts. That's the end point. And then the arrow is the part that goes on forever. Okay, can I write this same line segment like this? BA. Can I write it that way? No, you cannot. This is the part, see where it starts? This part has to be the end point. This is not the end point. A is the end point. So on array, it does matter how you write it. It's very, very specific. It's very specific. Okay, let's do another example. Let me add, let's add a C here. Okay. Is Ray AC the same as Ray AB? Are they the same? AB, Ray, and AC. Yes, they are. Notice it has one endpoint and extends forever in one direction. So if it starts here at A, it's going all the way through B and going to C. So that's Ray AC. This is the same thing. See, it starts at A and it goes all the way across through B and C. Goes on forever and ever and ever. So there are different ways to write rays. And we'll go into more detail about writing rays when we're in our class together. Okay, endpoint is the next word. Endpoint is the points at the end of a segment or the start of a ray. So if I have my line right here, and this is good old line AB, and I decide to make a segment, my A and my B are my endpoints. So endpoints, you're looking at the end of something. Okay, what if I keep continuing and make Ray AB? Okay, where's my endpoint of that? Is it here? No, it's right here. That's where it starts. So this is my endpoint of my ray, is point A right there. Opposite rays is our next term. We're right here on number 4. Let's look at opposite rays. And here's the definition of opposite rays. Opposite rays are collinear and they share a common endpoint. A point divides a line into 2 half lines, which are opposite rays. Opposite mean if one goes to the right, the other's going to go to the left. If one goes up, the other is going to go down. They're going to be opposite each other. So if I have my common endpoint, and let's make that X. If I have a ray going here, and I have one going this way. These are opposite rays. So XA and XB are opposite rays. So right here, XA and XB are opposite rays. And what you look at is, where does it start? It starts here at X and it goes to the left through A. Look right here, it starts at the X and it goes all the way through B. Opposite rays is an important term because we will use this term later on when we start talking about angles. So that is a very important term, vocabulary term to grasp. Next one is parallel lines. Parallel lines are coplanar, and they're coplanar lines that do not intersect. The best way for me to describe that would be looking at 2 pieces of paper. Okay, these are note cards, and these are my parallel lines right here. Let's just look at one. So notebook paper is a good example of parallel lines. All these lines right here, they're coplanar, they're all in the same plane, and they do not intersect at all. And parallel lines is a very important term. We're going to be working with parallel lines a lot all throughout geometry. The symbol for parallel lines. The symbol for parallel is a sideways slant. It looks like two L's sideways. Now, depending on the book you use or the typing, the math type that you use, sometimes I've seen them when they're written totally vertical. And to me, that looks like two L's. But sometimes parallel is written like that in your math books. Usually it's written like that. I like to write it like this. So if you see that symbol, you'll know that means parallel. Next one, skew lines. When I think of skew lines, I think of scattered. They're all over the place. You got one going this way, you got one going that way. They are non-coplanar. Non-coplanar means not in the same plane, meaning they are not in a parallel and they do not intersect. So when I think of skew lines, I think of one line going up and down, possibly, and one line going backwards and forwards. So if we look at this example right here, this is a three-dimensional drawn on a piece of paper. This line DH, notice it's going up and down, and it's in the front. And look at AB. It's going back and forth this way. Those are non-coplanar. They mean they are not parallel and they do not intersect. Another way to look at it would be an example. Here is a little box here. This has 6 sides to it. This line right here and this line going back this way. Those would be skew. They're scattered. They're going, one's going in one direction, one's going in the other direction, and they're just all over the place. So that's what I think of with skewed lines. Our last vocabulary is parallel planes. Parallel planes are planes that do not intersect. And another example of parallel planes, I'm going to get my little box again. Okay, so here's our plane. And remember, a plane goes on forever. This goes all the way out this way. This goes this way. It's like a sheet of paper that continues forever and ever. Okay, so parallel planes, the top of this box and the bottom of this box would be parallel planes if you look at it that way. How about the sides? Look at this side. This is going up and down, and this is going up and down right here. We could also look at a box right here, the very front of this box, and the very back of the box. Those are parallel planes. How about the top and the bottom? They go like this. They are parallel. And then the sides are parallel also. All right, that is our lesson for today. This is Mrs. Neill. Thank you for watching.